Hello and welcome to today's review of the Transformers 2007 movie Real Gear Robots Zoom Out. Now, just go get this out of the way. He's alright, just across the board, he's alright. Camcorder mode, camcorder or whatever, it's kind of cool, You've got this little screen here. This is the Takara version. From what I understand, all of the Real Gears were supposed to come out during the Cybertron toy line. And so they would have had Cybertron images, like on the figures and stuff, in place where the stickers are. That is different for the Takara versions. Instead, we got 07 images. But yeah, beautiful detailing, I guess. Is it a working lens thing? See if the camera can pick it up. See, I can cover it over. You can see my finger through the other side, which is really cool. Zoom Out does something similar, but to a lesser effect. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, here he is. That moves. These bits move. It's alright, I guess. Nothing special. Far from the best thing we've covered so far. But yeah, let's just move on to our size comparison. So for the alt mode size comparison, here we have long view, midnighter, speed dial, Ralph, Steve. So generally across the board, he looks good with everything else, All of these tend to look good with one another. Blends right in. Definitely among a sea of these darker, duller grey colours, even if this is a grey-blue. Hell, you could argue this is just blue, but whatever, it's not important right now. So, yeah, everything looks good together. There is only one more mold after this, so we will finally get the group shot of all 8 of the unique molds, but 2 of them will be watches. So it'll actually be 9 figures total, only 8 unique. But yeah, cool stuff. Let's just move on to our transformation. So for the robot mode, I actually like the design of this guy. I like to imagine that the fact that this whole back section kind of has these 2 opening panels. I like to think it's like a jetpack or something like that. I was sat down with a friend of mine, kind of talking about these guys, flipping them back and forth, just to kind of get a general feel of like what's better than what a few days ago. And we both agreed this robot mode is really cool, and its main issue really is these shoulders. As you can see, they kind of go up like this, but other than that, they're not doing anything, The rest of the arm isn't going to be able to move an awful lot, but the head mode is killer on this guy. I really like the way the chest works, It's that folding panel that goes from the back end of the alt mode and kind of collapses up front, which is really cool. And like, you move the legs out of the way, fold them up, and then swing this around. The transformation. It's really cool. So yeah, generally bot mode is a success, besides for shoulders. So what better to do than move on to our size comparison. So for the robot mode size comparison, here we have 07 Voyager Ironhide, 07 Deluxe Swindle, 07 Legends Bumblebee, Ralph, Steve. Generally, size comparison across the board is cool. Same notes as usual with Real Gear. Good median between varying points, from Legends to this to Deluxe. It's cool, and I'm happy with how it works with everything else. No real complaints here. Minifigure scale's fine. Yeah, it's not it's not the end of the world if for some reason minifigures might come up a bit too high, it's whatever to me. These are small guys anyway. So we're just going to move on to articulation. So in the name of not wasting time, let's go. So shoulders, let's make sure this is folded all the way around and kind of lied flat. Shoulders are going to spin all the way around, which is cool, It's definitely something it should be doing. Hinged section at the top of the arm here. There you go. Doesn't go inwards, of course, because there's no space between the arm and the torso. Your elbows are going to pull a 90, they're on a ball joint. So every ball joint can be a swivel. A good old jobby. I'll actually leave a link to his channel because I actually quite like him. So that will be in the description for this video. Purely because I think I've referenced him a couple of times with that joke. So knees are going to pull a 90 as well. They're also going to kick up that much. Man, apologies for the lighting. The sun's glaring through the window, and I know if I close my blinds, it's going to be a bit too dark in here, even with the ring light. So we're just going to leave it as it is and see how it turns out. Pinned legs mean full splits. Knee, well, above the knee swivel, right? There you go. See, the knees on this one aren't actually ball jointed. They're like kind of pinned in there or whatever. So it's actually something different. And no waist, which kind of sucks. You could have definitely gotten a waist if this had been assembled differently, but oh well. Then that's out of the way. Hands don't move. And we go up to the head. Now it's on this, it's kind of a section, whatever. You know, I'm losing the words for it. But anyway, that will allow it to go this far back, this far forward, which is really cool. Spins all the way around. Tiny bit of confused dog to the left and right. And then the general head movement aside from that is not great. But yeah, he's a transformer. Alright, that's all I can say. He's just a small little solid transformer. So where better to go than my final thoughts? So my final thoughts for this guy, generally speaking, solid. You know, nothing more, nothing less. I don't hate him. I don't hate anything he does. The shoulders, sure, they suck a little bit. But, you know, he's technically still got shoulders, right? You know, it's better than being a blob that doesn't move. So aesthetics on this guy are 4 out of 5. For the size class and whatnot, you know, we're looking at kind of things in a bubble, figuring out what compares to what of a similar price, size class and stuff at the time or beforehand. So yeah, aesthetics on this guy, good, you know. Both modes look good. They don't function great, specifically the robot mode, but that's not an aesthetic thing. That's articulation and stuff like that. So robot mode, good. Vehicle mode or alt mode, whatever, good. You know, 4 out of 5. Transformation on this guy is also a 4 out of 5. It's a really simple process, really. Might have a bit of trouble getting the legs around the arms sometimes, you know, but hey, it's neither here nor there. I don't hate it. I like the way the head works. I like the way this front panel works. It's cool, you know, that it still functions and stuff. You know, it's cool. 4 out of 5. Articulation on this guy. Man, as cool as all the extra head movement is, none of the other joints do anything substantial or too out of the norm. The fact the shoulders work is cool. The fact they're on these like real bits, but hey. It's a 2 out of 5 on that because yes, it moves, but it doesn't even hit like your middle of the road thanks to certain joints like the shoulders, and there's no waist. I don't think any of these have had a waist so far, but it's just a middling affair, and it's all issues with just the arms as a whole. Value for money on this guy there. Now, it is still a very playable Transformers toy, you know. Remember, 07 still aimed at kids, you know. Hasbro aren't kind of rinsing adult collectors of their money quite at this point, you know. It's gonna take them, you know, 7 or 8 years, but hey, you know, we get to here and it's still for kids. I think value for money, the £7 you would have paid for this, cool, you know. 4 out of 5, it's good, you know. A child sure could have fun with this, whether it's in either mode. And the transformation's very user-friendly as well. It's actually really working in its favor. So yeah, generally 4 out of 5 on that guy. And I mean, 4 out of 5 across the board, you know. I do like this figure. It's just let down by that articulation, you know. He's not one of my favourites, but he's solid, you know. For the most part, I do actually like the whole line as well of these Real Gear robots. But yeah, he's something to behold. This has been AnimatedCHUG. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for the very last Real Gear review.